Hi YouTube, the name's KingofLames. I play Dueling a lot. It's a problem. Anyways, I've been playing some Rescue Ace Horus, and this is my deck list. So, no particular order, it's one Airlifter, he's limited, 3 Impulse, 3 Hydrant, 2 Tobe,
You got a playset of Cincinnati. You got an SP Little Knight. You got a
the one of each of the spells you have to play, 2 Prevento, excuse well. I play both Fire Engine and Fire Attacker, and Monitor and Reinforce. I would say Reinforce and Monitor are pretty unconventional. When I approach the deck, I want my deck's engine to be as strong as possible. So when you're playing a deck that's kind of bricky like Rescue Ace, you really are counting on your engine to be able to break boards and play through interruptions. And this card's really good in the grind game because it lets you keep up with a deck like Fluunderies or Labyrinth. You can just grind infinitely. There's a few niche situations where Monitor comes up, especially if you have emergency Turbo Resolves and you have an emergency to use but nothing in the deck to really get off of summoning it, to get value out of summoning it. And opening Monitor and emergency is a little bit better because you can get Reinforce, try to survive for a turn, and then Reinforce set the emergency to play at the very least. Fire Attackers, for Impulse, you can emergency in some matchups. I would say Fire Engine's better overall, but there's a lot of niche situations where Attacker comes up. Against a deck like Lab, you probably want both of these out and protected on the field, because if you can get them triggered, if you can trigger them every turn, because Big Welcome pretty much always triggers this as well, you can just start drawing to. You do that twice, it's draw for discard 2, and you're probably just out-resourcing them very effortlessly. And 3 Hydrants to make up for some of the consistency that Airlifter to 1 did. It's no summon Hydrants add Preventer Impulse isn't pretty, but it's better than a lot of the other options, because at least you have different cards you can extend with. But yeah, I really like this card. It's probably the only reason to play this deck going forward. But Snake Eyes, Fire Kings, and Pio is just better next format. Diabell Engine. 2 Witch, 3 Wanted, 2 Snake Eyes. It's 2/2 instead of 3/1 because I'd rather open up a Diabell and a Snake Eyes than 2 Diabell. Plus those niche situations where the second one comes up, and quite frankly, I just didn't feel like buying a 3rd Diabell. I pulled 2 in a case and got 2 originals. And then there's the Horus Engine, 3 Cincinnati. You run 3 of this. Happy's the one with the most amount of utility out of the bad Horus cards, and then 2 Sock. I don't think you can go for a much smaller ratio than this. Just so many situations where having 2 Socks comes up, and a lot of boards are breakable if you force an interaction on 1 Sock and activate the second one. Playing a 3rd Horus monster, I've thought about it, I've done it in the past. It makes this a bit better into a good amount of boards, but you usually can't afford the additional discard cost. It's usually not free, and you're gonna have to you're gonna sacrifice another one of your plays by going for it. So yeah, I just set it on just the 1 happy brick, and it's pretty good. 2 Talents, 2 Fenrir. These cards kind of fill similar situations. They're cards that are very strong in situations where, like, you have 2 hand traps, you get hand trapped twice, or well, when you get hand trapped twice and you have 2 hand traps and you just trade with them. Because, like, Fenrir add Fenrir, they're not going to ash it, they're not going to imperm it, and if they have to imperm it on their turn, that's a very good trade for you, because you already got value, and they're probably not going to be able to play through very well. I kind of like 2/2. I consider running third Fenrir, because it does come up sometimes. And I've played 3 Fenrir, 1 Pressured Planet before. Because Pressured Planet's just kind of nice to open with the Dive stuff, because you can cheat out on the discard. A little trolly. Museum plus Dive is really good. It's like, it's basically Airlifter plus Dive, and you're able to cheat out on a discard cost as well. Because it's Museum, add Joandel. Send, summon Dive, set original Sinfo, Joandel, add Airlifter. This is basically just Airlifter copies, 2 through 4, and Impulse if you have Airlift already. So it's nice that there's multiple good targets you can search off of it. But it's awkward sometimes. Non-engine, Ash, Imperm, Nib, Vela. Nothing too controversial here. A lot of times I prefer Velo over Imperm, but with talents, just being the card it is, you gotta have to play this to cover it, but Velo's better going first in Rescue Ace because it's not as telegraphed, you have other things you want, you have Spell and Trap Zones for, and people are gonna side it evenly and back a remover, and hey, that doesn't deal with the Velo. Going into next format, I'd probably put Droll somewhere on my list, probably in the main, but I don't know. The few games I've played against the Snake Eyes Rescue Ace is just not very good. You definitely want a smaller engine for Rescue Ace to try to keep up, but even then I just feel like Snake Eyes just plays better with a lower engine in Rescue Ace. X, basically just a lot of flex spots. I don't... second that SP's in another deck. Thought about playing Linkaribo, and I probably should. There's a lot of niche situations where being able to tribute it from the graveyard comes up and wins games, like Chain Block and a Lady Labyrinth, for example. Sunlight Wolf, the 2 Charmers that it plays, and then for the rank 8s, it's Zombie Vampire. This is an non-negotiable, and then there's another flex spot. I think Dingyosu's pretty good at protection and remover. It really comes up nice into matchups against Labyrinth. So the nice thing about a Zombie Vampire is you can use it using, you can substitute monsters your opponent owns to do take from like Hero or Dark for level 8. So there's situations where you have a Preventer and then you Dark or Hero, and then you use those 2 for the Zombie Vampire.
Taking 53 off the team.
And then the 2 ones that are missing is Typhon, which is kind of mandatory, and Heat Leo. And I'd say Heat Leo and Unicorn are pretty cuttable. They don't come up very often at all. Unicorn, there's like some theoretical lines where you go for game, you have an extra body and a discard, so you can first up and out, and then go for Slain. I mean access code instead of just going for Slain. Heat Leo, I think I've summoned him like 2 times last month. Probably should just be something else, but I don't really think I need anything else in the extra deck right now. For the fun stuff, Gizmekuka. I wanted a card that would let me beat Rescue Ace consistently. Still kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes it just doesn't do enough, but I very much like the idea of using my engine to try to force their engine out and just grind through their stuff. It works sometimes, other times it doesn't. If you're playing Rescue Ace in X format, this definitely isn't making the cut. You're probably just maxing out on non-engine that's interruption and just praying that it's enough. But if you are trying to do engine heavy round, you'd probably play Phantasme over it because it's more live. Go Soga.
That's what I'm saying. No, Curry, you're right. So
I noticed Droll in lock mode wasn't very
It's
It was
definitely
being
Duster and Angel.
played around very often, and Ghost Ogre's
If Angel is a super rare, then I literally fuck one.
always a bit of a wild card. People play into it in situations where you think they really shouldn't. And I'm kind of hit or miss. Like, going into the next format, stopping a Charmo's kind of decent, but they have good search targets to do. I don't know. Stopping them both experimenting. And also stop OTKs at least. Cosmic, Duster, Lab, Rogue Dex, Bell for Lab. We have this very annoying Pearly player called Justin Singh at Locos. And I wanted Crow and in part Ghost Ogre just because I wanted to beat him after he beat me at a Loco tournament where I drew HQ Turbulence 2 games in a row without any other SJ cards. I want my revenge. Yeah.
So, any shoutouts?
No.
Alright.
This deck's... Horus cards are decent, but like... In general, they don't do quite enough to win games on their own. You can, like, maybe steal a game or two that you shouldn't otherwise be able to win, but in general, they just don't do quite enough in general.
Okay.
You'll probably see some play here now.
Alright.
Kudos.
Yeah.